to tell the public, or what they're allowed to release and what they're not allowed to release. So if you so you can't trust, I guess, any of our earth science, because it's not really the truth. It's not the science. It's half-truths and little bits here and there, but they're leaving out the chunks that they don't like in order to lead you down a path that they want you to be on, which is religion. It's not just truthism. So our future has to be based in truth, right? So I think, and the way I see the universe and the way that science and truth sees the universe, is that there was a creator. There's a creator God, and that our universe is young. Our earth is young. That's what all science leads to, and I've done other videos on that. I could get into that. I could talk about that for a good long time. I enjoy it, actually. I love talking about it because it's so fascinating, and I like solidifying it in my head because we see so much of the opposite. Everywhere we look, every TV show, all of our media, school, everything pushes their religion to be truth and to be prominent in our mind when it's all lies and bullshit. So in order to break that hold they had on my mind, brainwashing, I like to say my truth as much as possible and hear it from other people too, and hear the science behind it, and hear the truth behind it, and see the logic behind it, and see how it all works out and how everything leads into to it in the proper way. Because well, it humbles you, but it just brings you back to a real reality, and it just helps to, when I look out, I don't see what I used to see. When I look at a tree, I don't see a simple any plant that I look at, or even a raindrop, or the water cycle, or a bird, the ocean. All that stuff is just way more fascinating. There's way more to it. It's all math, and it's all science, and it's all perfect, and it's all symbiotic. Everything needs everything. It's not just a couple things need a couple things. Everything needs everything. It has to be just the way it is. One thing out of place and everything else is going to start to crumble, especially the small things. And the smaller you get, the more complicated things get. I think that's freaking beautiful. Really beautiful. And it really just destroys evolution. Big time. There's so many things that do. Like they say the trilobite was one of the first things in the fossil record or whatever, first life forms. But it has the most complicated, not the most, but one of the most complicated eyes ever in existence. So, how is it that the eye evolved that quickly and then de-evolved for other reasons? It just, none of their shit makes sense. It's all bullshit. They're good at stringing it together. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. It's hard not to, because of it's a big thought to think of a perfect future. There's so many things that need to change in our society and in our world that we actually have to rethink all the little details. We all need to think about them, and we all need to come up with each and every idea that we possibly can, and this really should be written down and made into like a movie or something. If you're out there making cartoons or whatever, because and not my words, but just the idea of it, you know. The storyline could be changed. The minute ways of running the society could even be changed. It doesn't. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right in the things that I'm talking about, but I'm really, really, really close, right? Like on earth as it is in heaven. In heaven, that's the other thing. In the Apocrypha of the Jews, and in a lot of books that talk about heaven, like the Book of Isaiah and stuff, and in the later books of Enoch, talks about the universities in heaven. I really aspire to go there. I think that's great. The thought of that, it's a university of philosophy with the greatest minds ever. You know, you could sit there in awe of the thought process for an eternity, and just, you know, that is a part of our society that we should all strive for. A place where everybody in the community just kind of gets together and talk of philosophical. There's a word there. I lost it. Physiological. No. And talk about philosophy and just praise God. Praise the Creator. Praise the creation. I say God. I love God. But however you want to think about that, until we know all the truth, we can't definitively say one thing or the other. I know my truth, 100%. But I don't want to argue about that. This isn't about that. This is about that would come out by itself in this society. We don't need to put a specific tag or detail onto that. We just need to know that those universities would be a place, and the talk would be of truth, the absolute truth, and it wouldn't be any bias by people hiding information that they found or that we already know, and that, oh, well, we don't like that information, so we're going to hide that. You know, there wouldn't be a Smithsonian, there wouldn't be a Vatican hiding half of our history in the basements, locking it away and saying that didn't happen. Their society's crashing right now. The 1984 bubble, where they're already like changing history, and we don't like this about history, so we're gonna pretend it didn't, and we're gonna delete this, and we're gonna delete, pay for this and pay for that, and you should feel bad, and it's crazy. If you're of African American descent, you should be prideful of the sacrifices of your ancestors to make the greatest country the world's ever seen, to record anyways, and not just the USA, because so many other countries followed suit. You've made the whole world the best it's ever been racially, or whatever, as far as we're told anyway, because again, our history is rewritten by fucking fools. I think racism's rather new. when you look into the real study of it, it's kind of new. There was always nationalism, but race never really came into the works of it until Darwin. He's the father of racism. That's why he's hailed as a king in our school system, because he's the king of their fucking theory of destruction. Anyway, you should be super proud that you came from the descendants, the Hebrews, and you're the nation builders. Without you, the nations never would have been able to do what they did, right? They built it off of your backs, yes, they definitely did, right? But in the end, it has come out to be for your benefit, right? Because right now, you've got it as good or better than everybody else in the world. And as good or better than anybody else in history. So, reparations is stupid. You're going to destroy the country that your ancestors built because you want an apology for history and for how the country was built or whatever. But you can't have your cake and eat it too, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you bleed the country with reparations for everybody, then the country dies and we go back to racism and back to slavery. Or you say, man, I'm grateful that we're in this country that we're in right now. It sucks what happened in the past. I'm grateful that everybody sees that it sucks now and that we've changed and we don't do that shit anymore. Let's make sure it doesn't happen anywhere in the world. Let's not buy things from China. Let's not buy things from sweatshops and shit, or Nike, whatever. Let's not support other slavery, and let's not bring ourselves back to a worse situation than what we're in for a momentarily, brief instance. It's the same logic that gets people to cheat on their wives or whatever, right? For a couple minutes or half an hour of pleasure or whatever, you're going to destroy a lifetime of work, right? But in this instance, for a couple weeks, months, whatever, maybe even a lifetime of pleasure, you're going to destroy generations of work. Blood and sweat and tears, and even more so for your own race, because it was more blood and sweat and tears of your ancestors to make this country than it was of any other ancestry to make this country. So you're shitting on their work when you want reparations that way. Like I said, to want everybody to acknowledge and change and do what we're doing is great. That's awesome. I think that's A1. Now, for most races have been in slavery at some time in history, whatever. I'm a mutt, so there's a lot of me that has been and a lot of me that hasn't. And but my Scottish Logans were most definitely slaves to the English at some time, for a long time. And our wives were raped on their wedding nights and shit like that. All kinds of sick, horrible shit happened. Atrocities. And they really worked out the method of slavery and how they were going to treat your people on my people, or whatever, right? But eventually there was benefits, and we got out of it, and now it's over, right? Anyway, and now I'm the product of that. I'm a mutt, so I'm what they didn't want, or what, kind of what they did want, I guess, because they wanted to breed out the Scots, but now they've actually bred themselves out too, because it's all Irish, Scottish, French, Jewish, blah, everything, right? Anyway, the lost it. The thinking that people should pay for history is going to destroy the future. Simple way to say it. So, black people have a unique difference in their slavery to any other people's slavery, in that your heritage was fully stolen. African Americans, I guess, not just black, because Africans actually contributed to that. African Americans are actually Hebrews, and your heritage has been stolen. So instead of wanting reparations, you should want tithes and offerings for Hebrews. It's a blessing to bless the Hebrews. It's a blessing to acknowledge the Hebrews. That's not going to destroy the country. The way you're asking for it will destroy the country. If you ask for it from God, not from man. You're asking for it from man. You're asking us, mankind, to pay back for what you're saying is God's mistakes. There's no other way to put it. Because you're asking the stick to pay back for your father. Punishment from your father. So you're saying that the father was wrong in punishing you, and you want money back for your punishment. Well, the father was not wrong. He's never wrong. He's always right. So you got punished. Now you're in a really awesome position. He punished you, but then because of that punishment, he put you in the very best position that you could possibly be in. Isn't he great? Isn't he smart? Omnipotent? Like he just understood exactly what was going to happen and where it would put you, and now you're in the power of the world. You don't see it. It's frustrating that you don't see it. Pastor, my church, it's real frustrating. He keeps talking about reparations. It's an Edomite word. They made it up to punish Germans and to steal your heritage and to steal your land. That's when that word was made up. All during the First and Second World Wars, they made up that word in the First World War and the treaty, and Germany had to pay reparations to all these other countries and all these other people, and then they came up with the Balfour Agreement later on. But it's an Edomite word. It's your enemy's word, and you're using it, and it's blasphemous. You're spitting on God's decision when you ask for reparations. And I don't know. It's sad. It broke my heart when Pastor couldn't see it over and over. And he can't see this Joe Biden problem. You guys think Trump was so bad. this liberal government and the reparations and all this stuff. This is gonna trash the country. Trash. Thank you. I'm talking too much. I'm gonna go.